Let me quickly get you to meet our guests. We've got Veer Sangvi joining us, Shiv Vishwanathan, we've got Achut Yagnik, Ashok Malik is with us, Renuka Chaudhary from the Congress party is with us, and also Smriti Irani. I want to go across first to Smriti Irani on the significance of Narendra Modi's speech. The fact that he's speaking in Hindi, he's not speaking in Gujarati, he's talking about coming to Delhi for one day. Lots of pot shots at the media, at political pundits, several of whom we've had through the day. Very clearly, he might have been speaking in Ahmedabad, but this was a victory speech addressing the entire nation, Smriti.
You know, Rahul, firstly, there's Renuka on your channel, and I actually have been waiting for 1 hour to speak. Unfortunately, have to go on to another program. I would like to congratulate the Congress party for their victory in Himachal. But at the same time, I think the Chief Minister of Gujarat was very categorical with regards to all the brickbats that Gujarat and especially the Bharatiya Janata Party in Gujarat have been getting, irrespective of the tremendous victory yet again in Gujarat. Through you, I would like to genuinely thank all the people in Gujarat who voted for us, all the Karyakartas in Gujarat and from the rest of the nation who came to Gujarat to support us. And all I will say now that this is the time to look ahead, look forward.
Look ahead, look forward, which essentially means Delhi chalo, Smriti?
27 को तो दिल्ली आ ही रहे हैं, तो दिल्ली इसका मतलब दूर नहीं.
Now you're speaking like Narendra Modi. I see it's catching on in the BJP.
I take that as a huge compliment. Thank you.
So very clearly, lots of Rara, Modi and BJP leaders striving to align in the Modi camp because they know which way the sun seems to be rising.
Let me just say this, like I said, I'm short on time, but let me just say this, that though you're trying to fish for trouble in the BJP, you will find none. Every BJP leader today has categorically not only congratulated Narendra Bhai, but also said categorically across all channels that yes, he is one of the tallest leaders, one of the most popular leaders not only in the Bharatiya Janata Party, but across Indian polity today. And we are extremely proud of the fact that the people
So you admit that Narendra Modi is now first amongst equals.
Once again supported
in the BJP, now there is a clear, open, public declaration of Narendra Modi's support base, which is unparalleled, unrivaled, and therefore BJP now publicly accepts that he is first amongst equals.
Well, there was no denial about Narendra Modi's popularity in the BJP. It is just that today, because of this hat trick in Gujarat, it once again becomes a topic of discussion in various TV studios. So let me just say this, that today BJP leaders in Delhi, all over the country have just reiterated their stand, their support for Mr. Modi, and also reiterated the fact that he is undoubtedly one of the most popular leaders in India.
You know, people are talking about a change, Narendra Modi. The fact that he goes and meets Keshubhai Patel, gives him a laddu. I don't even know whether Keshubhai Patel wanted anything to do with that laddu or not, but he got one from Narendra Modi. And also, he asks for forgiveness. He speaks about moving on. Is this cosmetic change for the camera, or is Narendra Modi now working towards recrafting his image?
Well, headlines today followed Narendra Modi through the entire campaign and is aware of the fact that Narendra Bhai did not speak one ill word against Keshubhai in this entire campaign. We have always maintained, even a person like me, who is extremely junior in the entire lot, that Keshubhai has been one of our senior leaders, was very much a part of our family, hence is to be respected. And I think that it was extremely heartwarming to see that after such a stupendous victory, Narendra Bhai went to that senior and took his blessings.
I want to go across to Renuka Chaudhary. Ma'am, do you think Narendra Modi is
Rahul,
changing for good? Yes, I know that most of your time got taken up when Narendra Modi was speaking, and I'm sorry about that. None of us could have anticipated that while we planned the programming.
But
thank you very much.
I'm glad that through you, the entire nation could hear him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Smriti, for joining us. I want to go across to Renuka Chaudhary now. Narendra Modi goes and meets Keshubhai Patel. He asks for forgiveness. Do you think this is a leader now trying to rework his image, getting set to move from Gandhinagar to New Delhi?
Well, it looks like it. It is mouthing platitudes now. And I guess it's never too late to learn. Good luck to him, because though he's fallen short of the magic number, he has pulled off a hat trick. So good luck to him. And the rest, his destiny and democracy will decide what's going to happen when he comes to Delhi. We are very, very grateful to the people of Himachal that they stood by the Congress party, believed in our ideologies, and realized that our secular intent has remained sound.
It's very interesting that you mentioned destiny and democracy. I want to bring in our experts. I'm coming back to you, Mr. Chaudhary, in just a moment. Starting with Veer Sanghvi on how you deconstruct Narendra Modi's victory speech.
This did get a little late.
Yes, Veer.
I thought it was actually the longest job application on live television. Essentially, he was applying to be Prime Minister of India, which is why, though he spoke about 6 crore Gujaratis, he spoke in Hindi, a language that is not the first language for most of those 6 crore Gujaratis. He was appealing to the people of India. He was saying, I am here, I want to be Prime Minister, and hey, what the hell?
And why
he's got a perfect right to do it. So good luck to him.
He's won an election and he's
Absolutely.
taking so
And
many...
why shouldn't he exult in it? Why shouldn't he want to go forward? That's what democracy is about.
And he's taken so many pot shots at pundits. He's clearly been watching television coverage very closely.
But clearly he doesn't understand it, because as far as I know, nobody said he would lose. When he says that all the pundits got it wrong and I won.
He said they felt unhappy with the fact that he won. They were trying to find faults in his victory.
Well, I think many people are happy and many people are unhappy. But in terms of what was going to happen, everybody said he's going to win. So no surprises there.
Renuka Chaudhary, do you now think we are heading towards a Narendra Modi versus Rahul Gandhi clash in 2014? That now it's very clear, Smriti Irani admitted it, other BJP leaders are publicly admitting that he's first amongst equals. The BJP playing its cards, willy-nilly or otherwise, their cards are now out. Rahul Gandhi's cards are still being guarded very closely by the Congress party. Renuka Chaudhary? Okay, let me bring in Ashok Malik as well. Mr. Malik, your sense of Narendra Modi's victory speech, clearly addressing the entire nation with that address.
Well, yes, certainly. He was reaching out to a wider audience in this Gujarat, and he was also trying to recast his persona, his image as somebody who's sort of more expansive, looking out for a more kinder, gentler image perhaps than what he feels he's got from the media.
Do you think he succeeded?
Look, he's certainly got a better image today, and he's got a wider appeal today than, say, 10 years ago. So he is a clever politician, he's a smart politician. He has reinvented himself to some degree, enough to win 2 successive elections in Gujarat. To make it in Delhi and nationally, he'll have to do a bit more.
But nobody can take away the fact, Shiv Vishwanathan, that he plays the media better than any other politician. His symbolism is potent. The fact, completely unexpectedly, that he went and met Keshubhai Patel. The fact that he's speaking in Hindi, the fact that he's reaching out, seeking forgiveness. Here's a man who's got a strategy, like it or not, he knows what he's doing.
He can also work a crowd.
Sure.
He's a shrewd person. I think he also understands the moment of victory. In fact, I saw it like the release of Dabangg 3 rather than anything else. It's muted, modest, but it's...
Dabangg is not muted.
No, wait.
Which part of Salman Khan is Dabangg?
I think that's the brilliance of the strategy. And then halfway through he suddenly says, you add up all the votes of Gujarat and Himachal that Congress won, I make more. You see, the impudence, the arrogance of the man is almost genetic. Yet, moments of restraint make him endearing. I'm glad he finds he says Pandits find him undigestible. I think it's a feeling that's reciprocated. So I think one has to understand...
He's dripping in sarcasm and completely condescending when it comes to dealing
but I think
with
that's the beauty of the thing. That, you know, at one level he looks like molasses, but on the other one he's almost bittersweet. That combination makes him fascinatingly interesting. But he also reveals himself very clearly. Here's a guy who knows he's putting on an act, and he acts brilliantly.
You're saying he acts brilliantly, but now, Achyut Yagnik, people must decide whether they like, whether it's an act, it's not an act, it's staged, it's for real. People must decide one way or the other whether they like him or dislike him.
Yes, people will decide, and it's very interesting that over and above speaking in Hindi, he also tried to send the message that development of Gujarat means development of India. You know, if we open some hospital in Gujarat, more and more people can come from Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan. That is, even today that is happening. Cancer patients from Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh are visiting Gujarat regularly, you know. So he referred to that also. So he equated the development of Gujarat with the development of India. That is also very interesting.
Can I speak about his attack on pundits? it's not as sort of random as it may seem. It's a deliberate attempt to cast persona. His persona to his voters, to the people he's addressing, is that I am somebody like you, a Gujarati who's trying to make it. There is the Delhi Sultanate, there are people in Delhi, there is a charmed circle of pundits, they don't like us, they make fun of us, but together we will struggle and we will win. That's the message.
You see, that what's interesting about this speech is, even on the day he's won, and won resoundingly, he is still the underdog.
Yes.
He's presenting himself
That is the persona. The persona till the end is the underdog battling impossible odds and taking 6 crore Gujaratis with him in a language they don't speak.
Because now, Shiv Vishwanathan, on the one side you've got Narendra Modi, then you'll have Rahul Gandhi. It's heading towards a gladiatorial contest between the two.
Yeah.
People will look at Modi, they say, okay, we know what he's done administratively in terms of governance, etc., in terms of development, but with Rahul Gandhi, will he arouse the same sort of confidence as Modi?
Look, that's a bit premature. In fact, if you notice, there are two very words that he used in English all the time: good governance
And development.
and development. I think that's very key. It is almost as if he was telegraphing his next manifesto. But the second point that you've got to emphasize very clearly is, look, Rahul hasn't entered the stage. He's going to come in Act 3. He played the role of a trailer. He's going to be kept in hiding for the next 2 rounds. I think it's the era of Modi. He'll have to play out all his arrogance, all his impudence, and he will have to play out the collectivity called Gujarat in a way. He's seducing an audience. And I think it's fascinating to watch him do it. I love demagogues when they're a bit obvious.
That's interesting. You're saying he's seducing the audience. Is that at some level taking away from what this man has achieved? The fact...
No, I don't think so. I think the point we've been making is actually a good one, which is that he could exult and he could say, I have won and it's wonderful. But he's not saying that. As Ashok says, he's playing the underdog. He's saying it's your victory as much as my victory. There are people out there who are opposed to us. But listen, I'm going to go get up there. I'm going to get to the very top and I'm going to take you with me.
What are the options before the BJP now? Is it a given that they will have to accept Narendra Modi's supremacy in the party?
You know, as I've said earlier as well,
He reached out to the cadre again and again, the party
I
workers.
think his appeal today is greater than the BJP's appeal. Whether that appeals enough to make him Prime Minister or not is another matter. But I think his appeal is greater than the BJP's appeal. Apart from a cabal or a clique or a small group of people in 11 Ashok Road, much of the party would be quite happy to have him running the party, to be honest.
Do you agree with that, Shiv Vishwanathan? That his appeal is greater than that of the BJP?
Yeah, and I think he did something else. He created a new underdog called Janta Janardhan. And I think you got to see, that's brilliant. He's poising himself to say he is the common man. He is the underdog. He is the voice of the people of India. The progression is being built systematically and rhetorically. I think at one level, there was almost a kind of planned cadence to the speech.
It was a positioning statement.
Yeah.
No, but while it is, you know, people turn around and say, okay, who in the Congress party is doing any of this? Whether you agree with him, you disagree with him, you like him or you dislike him.
In fact, Ashok and I were watching the speech in the PCR and we said there is nobody in the Congress party who can match him as a speaker or in his ability to move a crowd.
Or in his ability to strategize, plan about how he wishes to move. The whole idea of going and meeting Keshubhai Patel is a masterstroke.
I don't deny it.
You see, not just that, if the next election indeed is Rahul versus Modi. Now, Modi will at one level say, I have done this in terms of governance, Rahul has not done this. Now, that's one appeal. But that's not a greatly emotive appeal. That will appeal to people sitting in a drawing room. He's also going to say, I'm the underdog. That guy is privileged. He's dynasty. He's Motilal Nehru's great-great-grandson. I am nobody's son. I am just a man of the street.
And in a country, which likes the underdog, that's a potent appeal. The fact that I came from nowhere, I was selling tea at a tea stall in a small town village in Gujarat. See where I've reached. Whereas Rahul Gandhi comes from a dynasty and he's been born into the position that
Yes, he's certainly a potent, you know,
And it's a tribute to Indian democracy as well.
It's a hijacking of the Aam Aadmi.
Yes.
No, there's also a tribute to Indian democracy. A person from nowhere comes and becomes chief
No, I
minister.
think that is it. And he also paid the same tribute to Indian democracy, you know. Time and again he referred to Indian democracy. But I think more than that, the way he emphasized this good governance and development, he was also suggesting that he is the only person who is capable for the development of India and for the good governance of India.
Now, I think also the way he picked up good governance, development, youth, technology. At one level, he has gobbled up the Congress manifesto, reworked it, and shuffled the cards like a magician. That's why Congress looks like a C-grade movie. It has no script, no actors, it doesn't even have a trailer.
That's very interesting.
I'm not so sure about your claim that India loves a underdog and he's going to go very far because we love somebody who's come from the bottom. We're a country where politics is about dynasty. Most of the people, perhaps not in the BJP, but who are in power in the states and at the center are
No, but there's an
creations of
underlying
dynasty.
frustration with that fact that the
In
dynasty
the middle
rules.
class. In the middle class.
What
For
about the
middle
poor
class,
people? You
we
think-
don't know that. We don't know that the poor want the underdog and the poor mind democracy. You see, democracy is being anti-dynasty. If that was so, why do they keep voting for dynasty again and again?
But could that also be because they didn't have a strong enough symbol to vote for so far?
Possible, but I mean not likely.
Okay, let's go across now to the Insta trackpad that we have and quickly get our viewers a sense of how the numbers are finally shaping up at the end of what's been a very, very long day. I want to start with the final party positions and give our viewers an overall sense of what the Gujarat Assembly is now looking like. Let's take a look. Let me quickly fill this state map up for you. The BJP very close to its previous tally. Remember, they had 117 seats in the last Gujarat Assembly. They're now down 2 seats to 115. The Congress is at 62. They've gained some seats. In fact, let's take a look at the gain and loss figures as well. The fact is the Congress has picked up some seats, but it's very, very marginal, the Congress gains. Narendra Modi holding on the third time. This is the hat-trick that he's quite proud about. And the fact is, the Congress is at 62. This is the Congress plus, of course. The BJP coming down from 117 to 116 seats. The GPP not making much of an impact. They managed to pick up only 2 seats, mostly on the basis of the support of individual leaders, not so much the party. I want to go across to our panel once again and ask Veer Sanghvi first about his sense of the overall numbers in the way the tally at the end of the day looks.
It looks pretty much like the last election, which is why I think Modi's attitude is not just of a man who's finished a successful journey. His attitude is of a man who's arrived at the station. He's made that journey successfully, but he's now boarding an express train, and that's the journey that's really going
He's
to matter.
boarding an express train, but he needs a lot of people to help him on that way. From what we've seen, do you think this is a man who's capable of making enough change, reinventing himself enough to be able to inspire confidence amongst people who, as of now, don't fully trust him?
I think that's an open game, and that's the beauty of democracy. You can have the new designer politician, but he still has to convince democracy. It's a wait and watch attitude. I think something interesting is being played out. I think it deserves watching. Let's see whether this man produces a change of mask or a change of heart.
Change of mask or change of heart. Very interesting, Ashok Malik. The question really is about Narendra Modi's ability not just to enthuse the BJP cadre, which he might be able to do. The bigger challenge is to be able to convince allies who are very skeptical, those allies like the TDP, like the Trinamool, like the BJD, who need minority support. Can he convince them to tag along with him?
You see, of the current allies of the BJP, the one party which will be very worried will be the JDU. And if Modi becomes Prime Ministerial candidate, the JDU will probably walk away.
No, the Shiv Sena will also be worried, and I'll tell you why. Because of the fear that if Narendra Modi emerges as a Hindutva icon, the Shiv Sena's appeal diminishes.
It does, but the point is Raj Thackeray is willing to tie up with Modi in that case, so the BJP can play games there. I don't think the Akalis will really have a problem for the moment.
No, but with Raj Thackeray also there's a problem, and I'm not going to reveal private conversations, but the fact is that Raj Thackeray fears that here's a personality who's in his own mold, and two such personalities find very difficult to work with each other.
No, fair enough, but I do feel Raj Thackeray or the Shiv Sena won't really walk away from the alliance at the moment. But yes, winning incremental allies, winning back the TDP or perhaps the Naveen Patnaik or whatever, will not be simple and will depend on how many seats he can get. If he can win 180 or 200 seats as some of his adherents feel, then it's one game. If he stops at say 150, then he'll have to step back and allow somebody else.
That's when someone like an Arun Jaitley steps into the picture, Mr. Yagnik. He'll work with Modi in the way Advani worked with Vajpayee, in the hope that when push comes to shove, Modi has to make way for a Jaitley to take over. Isn't that the strategy that's also
I think that is the strategy of Jaitley. But I would also like to add that the composition of NDA may change.
In what way?
Because if Nitish and friends are not supporting him, then you may find some other group,
can come in?
other satrapas.
Who can this be?
It can be.
See, the NC is never going to come. Let's start from the top. You might get some parties in Haryana to come over, like the INLD, etc. That's all right. But as you come down, there are very few big parties that would feel comfortable. Do you think Jagan could possibly work with Modi?
Yes.
Pre-election, I'm not sure. Post-election, I don't know. But pre-election, I'm not
He
sure.
has a good equation with Jayalalitha.
That is exactly my point.
Jayalalitha is
that
one person who
Jayalalitha-
will support him. Jagan has too many Muslim votes to worry about in Andhra, but I think Ashok is right. If he gets 182, 200 seats, it's possible that the allies will fall in line. But if he gets 140, 150, then I think he's in trouble.
But what LK Advani told me in an interview a couple of weeks ago, she was very interesting. He said at 140, Vajpayee was untouchable. At 180, he was like a magnet that managed to put together an 18-part
No, but the threshold for Modi will be higher than Vajpayee.
so if Vajpayee is untouchable at 140, what is Modi at 140?
The threshold for Modi is higher.
Yeah, but Modi could do with a course on personality development at the national level.
But he's
No, I think
smart.
let's be serious. Vajpayee had a charm. Vajpayee had a style. I don't think you can equate that to Modi. Charm is not something I'd as yet grant Modi.
Appeal, yes, for sure.
Appeal, yes, we see it electorally. But I think there's a notion of a style. He's still unilateral. When he's modest, when he apologizes, he sounds like someone trying out somebody else's lines. Let's wait and watch. I think we're in an interesting period.
Can
To
he
go back to
replicate
the-
this Gujarat magic
That's what
across
Krishna's
the
got us,
country?
yeah. To carry on with that sort of rather strained metaphor of an express train, he has two stops along the way. The first is, can he become the BJP's prime ministerial candidate? He has problems with these people at the BJP headquarters who Ashok refers to who will not accept him. He has problems with the RSS. Assuming he makes that, can he actually persuade the voters of India, rural voters, people at the margins of our society, people outside of Gujarat, that he's prime ministerial material? If he makes that, can he build a coalition?
Manishankar Iyer is also
joining.
joining us, Mr. Iyer. Narendra Modi's victory speech, you were in Parliament. I don't know how much of it you got to hear, but he's apologized.
Happily, I didn't hear any of it.
Okay, he's apologized. He went and met Keshubhai Patel. He gave him a big laddu. The fact that he went and reached out to his better knower, that would indicate that here's a man who knows that he needs to rework the narrative and has already begun playing his cards.
Well, let's see him play it out. I think I have to agree with Mr. Vishwanathan that there is a leopard has great difficulty, or rather a tiger has great difficulty in changing its stripes, or a leopard changing its spots. And the essential character of the man, the sort of thing that has appealed to those who voted for him, is precisely going to stand in the way of his making these adjustments.
That's an important point you're making, Ashok Malik. LK Advani tried to change his image. That entire Jinnah episode boomeranged spectacularly. Narendra Modi was concerned about changing his image in this election. That's why he gave no ticket to any Muslim. Do you think post this election he'll be able to successfully change his image?
You see, Advani tried to do it in a very crude and clumsy manner, and it was patently false. So that was a disaster. In the case of Modi, I think his image as an authoritarian, as an authoritative leader, is something which goes in his favor. Especially given the deep disappointment with the UPA government over the past 3 years in vast segments of urban India. He would try and sort of turn around to the same constituency and say, look, you want a strong, decisive leader who delivers economic growth. I am that leader.
So are we
So
now...
actually his strong image works for him for the moment.
But several people also say he reminds them of Sanjay Gandhi, and they don't necessarily say that in a very good way. The prospect of a Sanjay Gandhi becoming Prime Minister, several people have told me, is similar to the prospect of a Narendra Modi becoming Prime Minister. And there are several people who also say that that's actually not such a bad thing.
And also Sanjay Gandhi didn't have the communal baggage which Narendra Modi has.
Okay, so are we now heading towards a Rahul versus Modi showdown in 2014? Our producers have actually worked really hard to try and see whether we're heading towards a contest between two prime ministerial candidates. Whereas on the one side you've got Narendra Modi who's itching to go, raring to make the transition. You've got Rahul Gandhi who looks very reluctant, unwilling to come out and take center stage despite being propped really hard by his own mother, by leaders in the Congress party, and also by the cadre. Take a look at this.
"2012, Modi conquers Gujarat, but it's an outcome which is predicted. 2014, on the other hand, is a tantalizing prospect for an epic battle of a brand created versus a brand inherited. Having tasted 3 consecutive defeats in UP, Bihar and Gujarat, can the Congress muster the courage to project the 42-year-old scion of the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty as its prime ministerial candidate for the general elections? Will it be a Narendra Damodar Das Modi versus Rahul Gandhi battle for the top job in New Delhi?
That's such a hilarious question, because here is a leader like Narendra Modi who has done the work of development in the state that he has been given responsibility in, and there is another leader of the Congress party who's still discovering India. So how can you compare the two?
He is very popular. We are very proud of his achievement. We are very proud of his record of governance. He is a towering leader of the party, all right, a national leader. But if you are thinking of PM's candidate, allow the party to decide at the appropriate time.
It is Congress and its allies who will go into an election. Who the BJP puts forward as leader, I don't know, but our line of leadership is very clear.
Development, a pro-corporate image, and a largely corruption-free administration. Moditva clearly works for 6 crore Gujaratis. Is there any reason why it won't work across India?
I don't even want to be uncharitable to him at this time to say he's a one-issue person, but he's certainly a one-state person. It's a long way across the country. Mr. Rahul Gandhi is part of a presence which has historical roots, and he represents that movement, and he represents that idea of India. I think every single village in the country and every home knows who Rahul Gandhi is. I can't say that's true about Mr. Modi.
The campaign for the Gujarat election saw a bitter war of words between the two leaders. Bereft of the communal card, Modi repeatedly targeted Rahul, even as the Gandhi scion retaliated by attacking Modi's development rhetoric.
सिर्फ एक व्यक्ति करता है गुजरात में, जो भी होता है सिर्फ एक व्यक्ति करता है और कोई कुछ नहीं करता है. ये आपको बताया जा रहा है. आपको बताया जा रहा है कि गुजरात में इनसे पहले कोई प्रगति नहीं हुई. ये आए हैं तो प्रगति शुरू हुई है. बहुत अच्छी मार्केटिंग है.
રાહુલ બાબા, અરે તમને તો ગુજરાતનો વિકાસ કેમ થાય છે એની ખબર સુદ્ધા નથી. રાહુલ બાબા વારંવાર આવીને તમે એમ કહો છો કે ગુજરાતમાં એક જ વ્યક્તિનો અવાજ ચાલે છે, બધું એક જ વ્યક્તિ કરે છે. અરે રાહુલ બાબા, ઈમાનદારી જેવી કોઈ ચીજ છે કે નહીં? એકમાત્ર દેશની અંદર એક માણસ એવો છે કે જે હંમેશા એમ કહે છે કે 6 કરોડ ગુજરાતીઓના કારણે મારું ગુજરાત ઉજળું છે.
Having won Gujarat for the third successive time, the obvious question is Delhi next? But before he can realize that dream, Mr. Narendra Modi will have to win over his detractors both within the Sangh as well as the NDA. But above all, he'll have to project an inclusive image if he is to win the confidence of the entire country. With camera person Siddharth Safaya, this is Javed Ansari in Ahmedabad for Headlines Today.
As a journalist, regardless of who wins, it's a tantalizing prospect. One of the most exciting elections that we've seen in several decades. Rahul Gandhi versus Narendra Modi. It's going to keep all of us, Veer, in business, and we'll have fabulous debates, great coverage. You know, it's not an insipid personality-less direction. For TV, they couldn't ask for anything better.
It's not a done deal, no, Rahul. I mean, the BJP's got to decide whether it wants this guy to be the Prime Minister candidate. After the BJP decides it, the NDA has got to decide that. The Rahul candidacy we know is decided. The Modi candidacy is less certain.
So the journalists are all set. The candidates need to arrive.
Only the BJP has to fall into line. Yeah.
Narendra Modi's victory in the state of Gujarat was supposed to make his own party open the gateway for him to come to Delhi. But his hat-trick has actually complicated matters for the BJP instead of simplifying them. Headlines Today now untangles the dilemma the BJP brass must overcome before deciding on Modi's candidature for Prime Minister.
Narendra will not stop here. My son will become Prime Minister. My son has won Gujarat.
Hiraba may have revealed her son's innermost secret, but will the Saffron Brigade allow Modi's prime ministerial dream to flower? Behind these scenes of merriment and cheer, the BJP top brass is nervous, trying hard to not show its dilemma.
और नरेंद्र भाई के नेतृत्व में गुजरात इसी प्रकार से तरक्की करता रहेगा और आगे भी विकास की राजनीति मजबूत होगी, यह मेरा दृढ़ विश्वास है.
Modi's hat trick in Gujarat may pose a new set of problems for the BJP leadership in Delhi. Why is that? Because there are some problems with BJP's Project Modi. First, projecting Modi could alienate certain allies of the NDA like the JDU, which would feel that its secular credentials would be hurt by partnering with someone like a Modi as the BJP's prime ministerial face. Second, projecting Modi will keep secular parties like the BJD and TDP away from the BJP. So if some new alliances are to be forged, that would be put in jeopardy. The third point is that projecting Modi will drown the BJP's hopes of building a rainbow coalition. At present, they want to get as many parties on board. We've seen those overtures being made to various parties even through the Bharat Bandh. Modi's projection would seriously put that on the back burner. And finally, his autocratic style could alienate party bigwigs. Remember, BJP is a party which has several big faces.
नौजवान देश का किसान, देश का मजदूर नरेंद्र मोदी को देश के भविष्य के नेता के रूप में देख रहे हैं. मैं तो ये कहता हूं कि भारत के अंदर कोई कानून होता, सीधे प्रधानमंत्री का चुनाव होता, तो नरेंद्र मोदी के मुकाबले दूर दूर तक कांग्रेस का कोई उम्मीदवार, चाहे राहुल गांधी हो, मनमोहन सिंह हो, चिदम्बरम हो, दिखाई नहीं देते.
Assumptions and presumptions are left to the media and to the commentators. I have nothing to say. As far as the BJP is concerned, the party will discuss this issue as and when necessary and then decide.
नरेंद्र मोदी की छवि इतनी बड़ी है, पूरे हिंदुस्तान के लोग आज भी अपेक्षा रखते हैं कि अगर नरेंद्र मोदी गुजरात देश के पीएम बनते हैं तो जैसे गुजरात का डेवलपमेंट हुआ ऐसा पूरा हिंदुस्तान का डेवलपमेंट कर सके. इतना कैपेबल आदमी है, ऐसे पूरे देश की प्रजा जानती है.
We are very proud of his achievement. We are very proud of his record of governance. He is a towering leader of the party, all right, a national leader. But if you are thinking of PM's candidate, allow the party to decide at the appropriate time.
But it's not like the road to Delhi for Modi too will be all fun and games. The first thing that stands in his way is the division within the RSS itself. Remember, it is Nagpur, whether the BJP accepts it or not, which pulls the strings within the BJP. When the RSS divided on Modi, his projection for Delhi is not going to be that easy. The second is ambitions of several feuding BJP leaders. Each one wants to be the face of the BJP in 2014. Modi will not find it easy to make his way through all of these competing leaders. Fear of alienating Muslim voters, despite the mandate that he's got in Gujarat, this fear will always remain in the BJP. 2002, the post-Godhra riots will not be forgotten in a hurry. And the final hurdle, the fourth hurdle before Modi, is the fear of upsetting secular allies like the JDU. Nitish Kumar already has made his discomfort about Modi as PM in 2014 quite apparent. And finally, the possible hurdle before Modi is a possible adverse judgment in the 2002 post-Godhra riots case.
We would definitely like that there should be a consensus as far as the Prime Ministerial post is concerned. And when that consensus comes through, if we are party to it, well and good. If we have any differences, we'll take a call at that time.
Having won Gujarat for the third successive time, the obvious question is Delhi next? But before he can realize that dream, Mr. Narendra Modi will have to win over his detractors both within the Sangh as well as the NDA. But above all, he'll have to project an inclusive image if he is to win the confidence of the entire country. With camera person Siddharth Safaya, this is Javed Ansari in Ahmedabad for Headlines Today.
So here's my own understanding of the way the situation will play out, and then I want to bring in the real pundits on this. Some very senior people in the BJP told me, and I want to start with Ashok, okay, without naming who our sources are, that Narendra Modi will not be projected as the prime ministerial face of the party. The party will project him as the campaign committee chairperson, whereas he is the de facto chairperson, he is the de facto prime ministerial face, but they'll not want JDU to walk away, so they'll project him as the campaign committee chairperson. Hope that he gets them close to 180 and then see what happens post that. And the secret deal that's been stitched up between him and Jaitley is that Jaitley will back him all the way, and in case he gets to 180, then play a big role at the back end. If not, then Jaitley could be Modi's choice for Prime Minister. What do you make?
It's a great conspiracy theory. You really think people common people.
It's not a
in India,
conspiracy theory. It comes from very high sources.
But you
in the
really think
BJP.
people will buy that? No, he's prime ministerial candidate, but he's actually only campaign committee chairman. He may become PM, but he may not, and the JDU will play along. This means people of India are a little silly and stupid. JDU is stupid. JDU's Muslim voters are even more stupid. I don't think it really works.
And Sushma Swaraj has no role to play. That's the
Yes,
other component in this story.
Veer, what do you make of this whole business of Narendra Modi being projected as the prime ministerial candidate? The BJP can't do it because the allies would have a problem. So will they find a de facto way of projecting him without projecting?
No, I think in substance what you've got is right. They will try and make him the chief campaigner. But the moment they make him the chief campaigner and try and take advantage of his undoubted charisma, people will start asking Nitish, will you stay if he becomes prime minister? And pushed into that situation in the campaign, Nitish will have no choice but to say, I won't stay. The moment he says that, Mamata will say, I will never join up with them. Naveen Patnaik will say that. Chandrababu will say that. YSR's son will say that. Everyone will say it. So I don't see that flying. The only way Modi can become prime minister is if the BJP takes an all or nothing gamble and says, this man is our candidate. It hopes it gets 180 seats. If it doesn't get 180 seats, then it goes back to
when I met Narendra Modi in Ahmedabad, he told me that, Gandhinagar, he said that, this whole fight with Nitish Kumar is overstated. And you wait and see what happens. Nothing of the sort that you've been talking about on television will happen. We'll all work together. That's what he's hoping for. Is there any possibility of that's the way the situation turning out?
Maybe I'm simplistic, but I don't see it.
You see, I've spoken to people who know both. In fact, at a personal level, they respect each other and they both realize they've done good work in their states. But Nitish has a genuine problem. Because if the Muslim votes go towards Lalu, and there's a Muslim Yadav tie-up or consolidation in Bihar, Nitish does suffer. So Nitish has a genuine problem. And,
Modi is also confident
I agree with him that Nitish Kumar is facing a real, genuine problem. And it is very difficult for him to overcome that,
Narendra Modi is also very confident that he will be able to counter the deficit created by Nitish Kumar's departure because the upper castes in Bihar will rally around this Hindutva icon and he believes it will damage the JDU much more than it will damage the BJP.
It's a possibility. I don't rule it out. But I mean, you're already talking about the NDA breaking up then.
Yeah.
Well,
will the rest of BJP agree to that? Going into this with an NDA that's broken up only because of
someone told me, someone from the JDU camp told me that in case the JDU and BJP fight separately, he says you may even have a situation where JDU finishes number 1 and BJP finishes number 2. Because, the vote splits essentially and the urban middle class and the upper caste go to the BJP, the Muslims and the backwards and the Mahadalits go to
No, but Narendra Modi is obviously banking on the fact that the upper caste would move away from the JDU and move towards the BJP and therefore he believes that the JDU's tally will also come down.
I think the urban middle class of Gujarat and urban middle class of Bihar, you cannot compare, Gujarat, urban population is 43% against national average of 32%. How can you compare that? And also the powerful middle class of Gujarat, you cannot compare with not very powerful compared to Gujarat, less powerful middle class of Bihar, number 1. Number 2, I would also like to point out the problem of Sangh Parivar. See, we are only talking about RSS,
yes.
But what happened to Sangh Parivar? The way, the VHP or the Bajrang Dal, or Bharatiya Kisan Sangh, the way they approach this time, Gujarat election, the way they behave this time, I think it is very important. What is happening not only with RSS, but with Sangh Parivar as a Parivar.
Okay, let's try and get each of our experts to come in because this is a very, very important question. We'll start with Shiv Vishwanathan on his understanding of how the RSS will view Narendra Modi's urge to move to Delhi.
See, I think there are three, it's like an obstacle course. Suddenly the guy who looks like king, suddenly looks like someone running through 3 obstacle courses. Let me call the first one the Nagpur consensus. I can't see the RSS letting him get away that easily. There has to be a negotiation. There has to be some deals, some ideas, some modification of behavior. Next is the BJP Darbar in Delhi. Regardless of what you say about Jaitley, I don't think it's that simple. Many of these leaders have probably the last innings in politics. I can't see them abandon it. Third, there's what you call the wider thing, the sense of the wider Sangh Parivar, VHP, this thing. I don't see Modi really catering to any of them, showing any sympathy, showing any kind of dialogue. Third, there is what I call the wider sense of the coalition. 3 major obstacles. I yet do not see a strategy. I see some conspiratorial stories. I don't see Modi.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate. Shiv Vishwanathan, if you were Narendra Modi, what would you do next if your aim was to move from Gandhinagar to Delhi?
Go direct. He has only one appeal. He thinks he's a mass leader. Most fascists do. And that's the only language he can speak. If you think he's going to go through this little coalitional obstacle course, I think he'll be a badly damaged man at the end of it.
Does Narendra Modi run the risk of, while he tries to cross these obstacles, of losing his original identity and his original appeal to his original voter?
Yeah, I think that's one of his problems. As I said before, he's pretty much a prisoner of his support base. He can't really move away from being a Hindutva icon. He can't afford to alienate the hardcore VHP types, the larger Sangh Parivar types who look up to him. He can't be seen as going soft on Muslims. He can't be seen as striking too many deals. He is a prisoner of the image he has created for himself.
That's interesting. Can he, Mr. Manishankar Iyer, as a political expert, not so much now as a member of the Congress party, what would you think would probably be Narendra Modi's best strategy?
I think Veer is only partially right in saying that he's a victim of his image. I think it's far truer to say he's a victim of his character. And I don't think a Modi who is not the Modi that we have seen will have any credibility even to himself. And I don't think other political leaders are going to be fooled by some attempt to soften his image. In the campaign, I said he is not a low Purush, but a Lahu Purush. And I repeat that. He is a Lahu Purush. He has waded through rivers of blood to get to where he has. But when you see the kind of excitement it causes to suggest that somebody should be hanged, you can see that somebody like Modi might have an appeal to a certain class which is attempting to avenge itself on some perceived grievance. But in India as a whole, I just do not see how Modi can make an impression, for example in Tamil Nadu, without badly denting Jayalalitha. I don't see how he can make an impression in Orissa without badly denting Naveen. I don't see how he can make an impression in West Bengal without badly denting Mamta, and so on and so forth along the line. And when he dents them, he's not only denting their image or their standing, he's also undercutting the base they have among secular Indians, and of course within that category the Muslims who want a secular country. So the man is the example of the other side. Either we have an inclusive India or we have Modi's India. And you were using an expression earlier which you're not using now, Moditva. Moditva is an extreme form of Hindutva. And I don't see
one
how...
of the parallels being drawn today, Mr. Yagnik, is that Modi's victory is like Rajapakse's victory in Sri Lanka. That there is a dark side to the victory. He's won, but he's got blood on his hands. He's won because the majority voted for him. Doesn't mean it's an honorable victory.
No, it's a dark side, you know, as the Lahu Purush. He is a Lahu Purush, no doubt about that. He's trying to cross over, you know, he's trying to cross. But I don't think it will be possible for him, and knowing him and knowing his past, I think it will be impossible for him to make over, you know, or to make, you know, even he cannot become Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Forget about any other comparison. But within BJP, within Sangh Parivar, he cannot emerge as
Okay, so propping up Rahul Gandhi, is that advisable for the Congress, or should they go with an unnamed, undeclared candidate into the next elections? Shiv Vishwanath.
Right now, Rahul looks affable, but he might just be a floating hypothesis. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 years. Maybe you have to set up a collective team. So instead of Rahul, you might have Rahul as the first among equals, fighting a unique, singular Lahu Purush that you described. So I think you've got to allow for different possibilities. I think right now, for me, Rahul in his affable understatement sounds less threatening than Modi.
No, but the fact also is that everybody is assuming that Rahul Gandhi would be willing to be the first face of the Congress party. Several leaders have said it, senior leaders have said it, but the fact is the young man he had a breakfast interaction with a few editors in which he said, you know, this business of me being the face of 2014 is only in your head. I've got a long-term structural view on the problems of India, and my horizons are 25, 30 years from now, and that's not how far journalists see. That's the way he's viewing the current situation.
I think that's true. His visions are 25, 35 years old. But I still think there is no option but to put him forward as the face of the Congress in the next campaign.
Will he be able to take on Modi?
Well, that's the problem. First of all, as I keep telling you,
let's assume for a moment. Okay, let's assume for a moment.
What does Modi have going from him? He has a record of development which the Congress denies and is chipped away at. He has 3 election victories before him. He is a great demagogue. He is wonderful in front of a crowd. He knows how to move a crowd. Rahul doesn't have that going for him. But are elections decided on that? Often elections are decided on absence of negatives. Shiv said nobody's threatened by Rahul. One of the good things about Rahul is that nobody's scared of him. The bad thing about Modi is that people are terrified. And after this program in the afternoon, I spoke to a Muslim friend of mine and I said, do you think you guys will now change your minds about it? And he said, supposing you found some old footage of Hitler wearing a skull cap and the Star of David and breakdancing to Hava Nagila, you think any Jew would change his mind about Hitler? That's how we feel about Modi. Now maybe this guy was overstating the case, but the roots of this hatred the Muslims have of Modi and the sense of bitterness and hurt runs very, very deep. Many Hindus, secular Hindus, are scared of a person who can divide society that way. They will not vote for Modi, not because they necessarily agree with the Congress that he's not an agent of development, but because they're scared of what that will mean for India, the dark side that Mr. Yagnik talked about. Rahul's advantage is that he's not threatening. There is no
disadvantage though. He doesn't impress anyone. He doesn't impress too many people. People say, what has he done to deserve to be our Prime Minister?
It would be very, very easy to portray this for television as 1 versus 1, that there's nothing else, there's Modi and there's Rahul. But the fact of the matter is, there is going to be the NDA versus the UPA. And if Mr. Modi becomes larger and larger within the NDA network, the NDA will grow smaller and smaller, making it easier for the UPA to win. Now, will our party be led definitively by only Rahul becoming quite clearly the person who becomes the Prime Minister? I don't know. I think we'll discover this over the course of the year. But at the end of the day, what was being suggested, that there be a collectivity, we are not going to have a collectivity. We already have a collectivity. We already have a collective leadership, and it includes people from other parties. Because the UPA is not going to disintegrate and we just have the Congress. We've taken to coalition politics like a fish to water after having objected to it for so long. And our coalition is not going to get weaker. The NDA is under serious threat. And as for the past, I'd just like to make this point because it's often missed. Indira Gandhi, when she became Prime Minister of India, was made the Prime Minister because she was expected to be a weakling. And the most famous remark that is reverberated about Indira Gandhi over 50 years is Lohia calling her a Gongi Guriya. And within a year and a half, they were talking of her as Ma Durga. Rajiv, what did anyone know about Rajiv? Which is why that first year of his was really the honeymoon year when his qualities were discovered. So equally...
Which is also when he made mistakes.
Well, or which Prime Minister doesn't make mistakes?
But because of his inexperience, he probably made more than others.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure because I think a number of things that were described as mistakes in those days have proved their long-term validity. For example, you have the Muslim Women's Bill, which was so bitterly opposed. But we've had 8 years of non-Congress governance and not one of them has repealed that bill, that act. So similarly, there are various things to be done. But what I'm saying is that the Congress will decide who its leadership.
Okay.
It will go into the election.
Okay, just one last point. I think charisma is overrated when it comes to Indian elections. Let's look at the election where the UPA came to power. The most charismatic leader the BJP has ever had, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, fought Sonia Gandhi, who they all called a reader, a woman with no charisma. She beat him.
Okay. Ashok Malik, if it comes down to a Rahul versus Modi contest, how do you see that play out?
Two things. One, others are free to disagree, but I think Modi is a less polarizing figure today than he was in 2002. And it would be unfair.
We don't know that.
No, I feel that.
Okay, you feel that.
It would be unfair not to recognize that. Okay. Second, while Veer and Mr. Iyer have raised the fact that Modi's record in 2002 will haunt him forever and ever. That may be true for some people, I'm not denying that. But the UPA's record in the past 3 years will also weigh heavily upon the Congress and the UPA's prospects in 2014, especially in vast parts of urban India. And that is also something which we have to factor in. Because this thirst or hunger, whatever you may call it, in urban India for a certain type of governance, economic governance perhaps, or more authoritative governance, will perhaps find
and that's the key.
Modi getting some
How
more
many
votes than,
of the centrist voters will actually lean in towards Modi because they are fed up with
absolutely.
the UPA?
That is
probably what
I don't
will
know. I
determine
don't think any of us does.
what Narendra
But that
Modi
is
ends
the
up with, and that's the question which none of us can answer.
Absolutely,
right now.
only the elections.
We're out of time on this particular
segment
segment of the show. Very quick final comments. You can see that big smile there.
If the people are so fed up with the UPA, which is a favorite theme of the media, can you tell me why it didn't operate just yesterday?
The point that I was making, that's what
Pradesh?
Modi is banking on.